Assalamualaikum and a very good day to Dr. Hanita. Today, our group, which is Group 4, will be presenting about the approaches and strategies of teaching literature using media. Before we start though, I'll introduce our group members from Group 4. First, we have NAJWA, which is me. Next, we have Josh Rashul Bali and Muhammad IZFAR and NURIN Sofia. Hi, I'm Najwa and now I'll be presenting about the introduction. So let's talk about the shift to 21st century literacy. To begin, we must address the fundamental shift in how we define literacy in this modern era. So, in the 21st century, the concept of a text has expanded far beyond the traditional boundaries of printed novels and poetry. We now operate within a landscape of digital, visual, and multimedia forms that demand a more complex set of interpretive skills. So, drawing on the research of Beach and colleagues, it is clear that contemporary students are immersed in a Web 2.0 participatory culture. So, this environment is characterized by constant connectivity and multimodality. So, for today's adolescents, consumption and production are no longer separate acts. They are actively remixing and responding to text through digital mediums such as blogs, video essays, and collaborative online discussions. So, as educators, we must recognize the process of meaning making is no longer linear or confined to a page. If our goal is to teach literature effectively, our classroom must reflect on this reality by acknowledging that students process information across multiple science systems and platforms, especially using social media. We must remember that we are not merely teaching books, we are teaching students how to navigate a sophisticated system of information. The social cultural strategy. So, transitioning to the pedagogical application, we advocate for a move away from traditional information transmission model. In that legacy model, the teacher acts as the primary source of knowledge while students remain passive recipients. So instead, we propose a social cultural approach to literature instruction. So, using this framework, the classroom functions as a literary community. Here, students acquire interpretive practices through active engagement, specifically through academic dialogue, performance, and media production. It is crucial to view media tools not as technological add ons or distractions, but as mediational tools. These tools provide intellectual scaffolding that allows students to think, analyze, and communicate with the depth of a literary scholar. So, using this approach is very effective for the current generation of tech savvy learners. These students possess a wealth of out of school literacies developed through their interaction with popular culture and social media. By validating and integrating these existing skills into our curriculum, we do more than just increase engagement. We foster a deeper, more authentic connection to literary learning. So, in conclusion, by leveraging media, we empower students to apply critical thinking to the digital world that they already inhabit. So, that's all from me. I'll pass it to the next group member. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi. So one key approach proposed by Beach 2011 is multi-textured teaching, which involves layering different types of text to deepen student understanding of literature. So rather than treating literary text as isolated or sacred objects, this approach places print literature in conversation with popular culture, media text, and digital forms such as films, advertisements, and music. Through this layering process, students learn that meaning is constructed across text and context. Now, for example, instead of teaching a traditional coming-of-age unit using only a single canonical novel, teachers might pair the adventures of Huckleberry Finn with magazine articles from Ebony, news media, and autobiographical essays. And this strategic layering allows students to explore themes such as racial identity, freedom, and moral growth across historical and contemporary contexts, of course. And as Bish in 2011 argued, such an approach will help students to critically read not only literary texts, but also the cultural texts that shape their own identities. Now, The benefit of multi-textured teaching lies in its ability to bridge students' lived experience with academic literature. And by pairing familiar media texts with canonical works, students are encouraged to question assumptions, recognize ideological perspective, and develop critical awareness. And literature does become a tool for understanding both the self and the social world. That is all from me. Thank you.
In terms of strategy, there's several, one of which is media production. So a central strategy in media-based literature instruction is, of course, media production, which, positions students as an active creator rather than passive consumers of meaning. So if you look at Beach, he stresses that students learn literary practices most efficiently when they are engaged in producing texts for authentic purposes and audiences. So one example would be digital storytelling, where students combine image, music, voiceover, and written scripts to animate their interpretations of a literary text. By making choices about sound, visual, and narration, students must think critically about tone, theme, and character perspectives. Similarly, students can create video interpretations of poetry by using many tools these days, such as Canva, CapCut, or even older applications like iMovie, and transforming abstract poetic responses into multi-modal representations that reflect emotional and symbolic meaning. And another would be film adaptations, which provides a powerful opportunity for literary engagement. Students can be assigned specific roles, specific production roles such as a casting director, soundtrack designer, and whatnot, to plan and reinterpret a key scene from, for example, a novel like To Kill a Mockingbird. These roles, they require students to justify their creative decision using textual evidence. Comparing student-created scenes with Hollywood adaptations can further allow for critical discussions about how cinematic techniques such as camera angles, lighting, and music, and thus shaping meaning, interpretation, and also ideology. Another effective strategy would be podcasting, where students record literary discussion, readers' theater's performance, or radio-style show based on text. So audio production emphasizes on voice, pacing, and interpretation, while also providing an inclusive platform for students who may be less confident in, in a written expression. Another strategy would be critical media literacy. So beyond producing media, students must also learn to critically analyze how media constructs meaning. If you look at Beach, he emphasizes that the importance of critical media literacy, which involves, teaching students to read the world by examining how text represents genre, race, class, and also power. So in the classroom, this might involve analyzing how teen magazines portray masculinity, encouraging students to question stereotypes and normative ideas. Similarly, pairing a dystopian novel such as Feed with real-world advertising and social media algorithms allows students to examine how corporations use constant streams of information to shape consumers' identity and also desire. And media analysis can also be used to interrogate racial and cultural representation. For example, if you look at, for example, students can investigate Hollywood's portrayal of Native Americans by comparing mainstream films with Smoke Signal, the movie, and discussing whose voice are heard and whose perspective are being marginalized. And this can, bridge into post-colonial studies as well. So, through such activities, students learn that texts are never neutral and that media plays a powerful role in shaping social beliefs. Thank you.
Now I'll move on to strategy 3, which focuses on interactive and social media tools. Pitch et al. Emphasized that learning literature is inherently a social activity. To support this, we can use tools that foster collaboration and dialogue. First, we have social media profiles. This is not just about fun, it encourages close reading. For example, students can create a Facebook profile for a character like Scout from To Kill a Mockingbird. However, every status update, photo, or about me detail must be supported by textual evidence. They have to prove they understand the character to build the profile. Second, we can use online role plays through blogs or forums. And in this activity, students debate social issues like justice or censorship entirely from their character's perspective. This helps them practice perspective taking, which is a crucial literary skill. Finally, we have collaborative wikis. Instead of working alone, the class uses a shared space to build chapter summaries and historical context together. This reinforces the idea that understanding literature is a communal effort, not just an individual task. Next, let's look at strategy 4, which is scaffolding and accessibility. Our first point here is using graphic novels. The activity involves reading multimodal texts like Persepolis or Mouse, where students analyze how images support the story. The benefit here is that it reduces cognitive overload. The visuals help students grasp complex themes without being overwhelmed by walls of text. Secondly, we can use video annotation tools. Here we can pause a film clip and add comments directly onto the screen to identify literary devices. This benefits students by making analysis interactive and much less intimidating than a traditional essay. And finally, we have audio and podcasting. For this activity, students can record readers, theater performances, or radio-style talk shows based on the text. The major benefit is inclusivity. It provides a platform for students who may lack confidence in written expression, allowing them to demonstrate their understanding through voice and performance. Ultimately, these strategies prove that media is not a distraction, but a necessary bridge to make literature accessible and engaging for all students. In conclusion, teaching literature to adolescents demonstrates that media should not be viewed as a distraction from serious literary study, but as a powerful tool for engagement, agency, and meaning-making. When used purposefully, media allows students to participate actively in a literary community, make connections between text and their own lives, and develop critical awareness of the world around them. Ultimately, integrating media into literature teaching transforms the classroom into what Beach et al. 211 described as a space of possibles, a space where students can explore identity, question social norms, and imagine personal and social transformation through literature. And that is all from us for teaching literature using media. Thank you for listening.